Today's video, 25 tips to 10x your productivity. And the best part, you don't have to implement, but just a few of these tips to start to see results. You ready, guys? Let's do it. Tip number one, and this one's really important. You need to identify what is important to you and then go after that. Understand, gentlemen, most things in life, it's noise. It does not matter. Now, you've probably heard of the Pareto principle that 20% of your effort yields you 80% of your return. But did you know there's a deeper Pareto principle that 4% of your effort yields you 64% of your return? What you want to focus in on is that 4%. Those few things in life that really matter, those skills you want to pick up, those people you want to spend time with, and that's where you need to focus your efforts. Next up, focusing on the small wins, the 1% improvement every day. Why 1%? Because it's achievable, it's easy. And here's the thing, when compounded over time, over the period of a year, a 1% consistent improvement day in, day out is going to yield you a 37 times return. 37 times more efficient, more effective if you focus in on becoming 1% better, 1% more effective every single day. Next up, gents, be intentional with your time. Be specific where you're going to spend your time. The more specific you're going to be in your calendar, both with your personal and your business, the more likely you are to actually follow through. So when I go through my daily calendar, 6 a.m., I'm meeting with my workout partner. At 8 a.m., I took my daughters to the pool. At 8:30 a.m., I had a manager's meeting. Guys, when you're specific with your time, both business and personal, and you're intentional with every moment, you're going to be able to get more out of it. The next tip to be more productive, do less. And this one sounds really counterintuitive. How do you get more done if you're going to do less? Oftentimes, if we have 2 hours to do a project, guess what? We're going to get it done in 2 hours. If we've got 20 minutes to do that same project, we're going to find a way to get it done in 20 minutes. How do we do that? Because we cut off all the things that don't matter. We focus in on what is truly important and we get the job done. So the next tip to improve your productivity is to double up on those tedious tasks. We're talking about laundry, dishes, that yard work. Guys, you want to be listening to audiobooks. You want to be improving your mind right here while you're doing those mindless tasks. Over the last 10 weeks, guys, I have made it through all of these books right here, not by reading them, but by consuming them over at Audible. Guys, I absolutely love this company. They're the paid sponsor of today's video. I've been a customer of Audible for over a decade. I listen to on average 50 books a year. Over 500 are here on my phone. And I can tell you that this thing has changed my life because when I can listen to a book like this one right here, The Road Less Stupid. You need to go check this one out. It's by Keith Cunningham. And I just realized as a business owner, I'm making tons of mistakes. Now, today we're talking about productivity. So you want to go check out maybe a book like Atomic Habits by James Clear. Another audiobook I'm listening to and loving right now is High Performance Habits by Brendon Burchard. I love how him and his team have identified 6 particular characteristics that high performers have that they need to improve if they want to go from good to great. Guys, I love Audible because it's got an unbeatable selection of audiobooks, including bestsellers, motivation, mysteries, thrillers, memoirs, whatever you want. Guys, every month you can choose 3 titles, 1 audiobook and 2 Audible originals. You can't hear anyone else. You can listen on any device, anytime, anywhere, at home, at the gym, on your commute, or just on the go. Right now, gents, for a limited time, you can get 3 months of Audible for just $6.95 a month. Gents, go to audible.com/RMRS or text RMRS to 500-500 to get started. Next up, don't multitask. And I know that goes exactly against what I just said. Not really, because what I was talking about there is doing something that's mindful with something that is mindless. So what you don't want to do is try to do 2 things that are mindful at the same time. Next tip is to delegate. As a dad, I appreciate this. I've trained my oldest daughter to take care of her younger sisters, but I know for a lot of people, let's talk to business, you don't have an assistant, so you can't delegate things off. But you kind of can, and here's how you do it. So what you do is if things are coming in, you're going to make a decision of what you're going to focus in on right now and what is going to go to the side. Next up, focusing on one thing, especially one thing at a time. You're overwhelmed. You've got 25 things on your to-do list. Okay, so go through, identify what is going to be the most important thing that I can actually accomplish in a relatively short amount of time and get it done. When you can accomplish that one task and you realize, hey, I've got 45 minutes left. I can go off and get more things done. It feels great. And make sure to write it down and then mark it off. That feels good as well. Next up, Unplug from social media. At least turn off the notifications. Yes, you're maybe going to miss what's going on Facebook or Instagram, but guess what? You're going to get more done. You're going to be more productive. Now, these next three I'm going to roll together because they're related, and that is to consume less caffeine, to get more sleep, and when you're sleeping, sleep in a room at a lower temperature. So let's talk about consuming less caffeine. For me, the rule is no caffeine after 10 a.m. Caffeine will affect your body about 5 to 8 hours after you've last had some. So realize if you're drinking a coffee at 4 p.m., at 8 p.m., you are going to have trouble sleeping that night. How does more sleep help me? Because you're going to make less mistakes the next day. You're going to be more alert. You're going to be more effective in getting things done and sleeping at a lower temperature. So when you sleep in a lower temperature, you are more likely to actually sleep soundly throughout the night. Next up, let's talk about vacation. And the key here is you need to take your vacation days. So Ernst & Young did this study, and they found that for every 10 hours of vacation a person took, their productivity went up by 8%. The point is that you become less productive if you go and you skip your vacation. So I think the Europeans have it right. Make sure that you take your vacation, you take your off time. Next up, stop worrying. So we worry about things that we have no control over that really, probably are never even going to happen. And that affects your present state of mind. Because if you're worrying, if you are not focused, you are not present, and you are not giving your best effort right now. This next tip to increase your productivity is a big one. And that is when you're doing something, when you're focused on a task, understand the reason that you're doing it and how it's going to pay off in the long run. What's the why? And when you have that underlying reason, you're going to find that you're going to be much more focused in. You're going to be able to just zero in and get into the zone much easier. So if you understand why you're actually doing the work, you're going to be a lot more productive. Next up, gentlemen, eat your frog. And I'm stealing this from Brian Tracy. I'm not telling you go out there and eat frogs literally, but what I am saying is identify that ugly task, that thing that's just been on your to-do list forever. Wake up early and knock through it, and boom, you're going to feel great. Now, this next tip is kind of old school, but when you're on a project, you're running into issues with communication, talk to somebody. I know that we've got email, we've got text, we've got Slack, all these great tools. Guys, focus in on just having that communication. Yes, sometimes it's going to be a bit confrontational. You're going to actually have to engage with them, but you'd be surprised what you can accomplish in a face-to-face meeting. So my next tip for being more productive, let it go, let it go. Can't hold it back anymore. Let it go. Guys, sometimes you've got things on your plate that honestly, you just need to throw away. You just need to give up on that project. Maybe this is not for me. Maybe this is something I need to hand off. Maybe this is something I need to save for another day. Next up, gents, plan it out. This is especially useful when you've got a complex task in front of you. Take it and break it into smaller chunks, digestible pieces. Now, it is still something, it will be a large task. It may take you months, may take you a year to do this. But if you break it into steps, all of a sudden it becomes something that step by step you can make your way through it. Next up, gents, manage your energy levels. This is all about how you treat your body, how you go to the gym, how you exercise, what you put into your body, what you eat, what you drink. You need to find out what is going to make you the most productive human being you can be, because otherwise you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot when you're not actually running on full charge. Next up, gents, be present. If you are here, be here. Don't be thinking about the future. Don't be thinking about the past. Guys, be present. And when you're present, you give 100% of your mind, 100% of your energy, and you're going to be incredibly efficient at what you're doing. Next up, gentlemen, finish what you've started. So many of us like to have multiple projects, multiple irons in the fire. We like to be 90% done with this one, 20% done with this one. The problem here is that you haven't finished any of this. And when it comes down to it, people want projects seen to the end. If you were to give 100% of your time and effort to one project, you'd be amazed at what you can accomplish. Next up, turn hesitation into action. I'm stealing this from Mel Robbins, her 5-second rule. And what she talks about there is that so many times we sabotage ourselves. We've got these dreams, these things we want to do, those people we want to reach out and contact, but we stop, we hesitate. We use fear to actually stop ourselves from doing what we know we need to do. So instead, go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then do it. Next up, let's talk about quitting. And this is different than letting it go. When you let it go, you move it to tomorrow, maybe next week. But if you quit, you're giving up on it. And this has a negative connotation to it, but it shouldn't. Because sometimes it's just, this isn't right for you. This is consuming. You are not going to win this fight. And you need to realize that. I'm not saying to give up prematurely, but I am saying sometimes the fight just isn't worth it. You need to move on. Now, this next tip is really simple. Do not use the snooze button. That extra 20 minutes, 30 minutes of sleep is not going to help you. You're going to be rushing throughout the day. Guys, when your alarm goes off, get up. Just shoot out of bed. If you snooze, you're going to lose. Now, this next tip is one of my favorites because we use it at Real Men Real Style. And that is when you've got a meeting, whether it be with a group of people or with one person, set a time. I know with our company meetings, they were getting long, like 90 minutes. And I said, you know what? This can't happen. We cut it down to 45 minutes. Then we cut it down to 30 minutes. Now we're at 15 minutes. There were a lot of things we covered in, yes, 90 minutes. But I said, you know what? A lot of this can be farmed out to smaller meetings between individuals. And we keep this 15-minute company meeting. And yes, we have a timer going so that helps us stay on track. Now, this next tip is one of my personal favorites, and that is, unless it's a hell yeah, it's a no. And this really comes down to be cautious with your yeses, be liberal with your no's. The thing is, if you say yes to everything, then all of a sudden, when you've got an amazing opportunity come up, you're not going to be able to take it because you're not going to have time to recognize it. So say no to a lot more. And when all of a sudden that amazing opportunity is right in front of you, you can say yes and you can give it your all. Now, gents, I need to be honest. I stole tons of this information from great thinkers. And if you want to go grab the books where I took this information, guys, go check out Audible. I'm linking to them down in the description. Absolutely love Audible. And some of those books, in case you're wondering, are Essentialism by Greg McKeown. Absolutely love this book. I listen to it every single month. For me, it's like showering. It's something you need to listen to again and again. Next up, we've got Deep Work by Cal Newport. I actually love this book, not only because I'm featured in this book, but because he really gets down to focusing on work that makes a difference, that's going to improve your career, is going to have a huge impact on your business. Next up, we've got The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. I love how he makes the case about why you should wake up early and give up being a night owl. Next up, Measure What Matters by John Doerr. I absolutely love this guy. He consulted with the founders of Google, with tons of other companies, on helping them to zero in on looking at what matters and to measure it, because what is measured can be improved. All right, guys, as you can tell, I got tons of books here on my Audible account, but it's a lot more than just audiobooks. But guys, it's about action. So I want to hear from you guys down in the comments. What action are you going to take today? Which one of these tips are you going to actually implement so you can start to become the man you know yourself to be? That's it, gents. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.